Hank Azaria, you are on the great show Brockmire on IFC. It returns on Wednesday at 10 o'clock, and I can't wait for it. What was your reaction to the first half and the second?
You can stream season 1 on Hulu. They'll get angry at me if I don't point that out. Millennials, you like to stream things. You don't have cable, so that's what you can do.
And you just go one episode after the other.
Yes, you can binge it. Binging meant something different in my day. Brockmire's that. Yeah, it can still be that, I guess.
What was your reaction to the second season, to the first half of the second season? And did you play, and because the character was one you created, did you have any part in sort of guiding the direction of where it went?
No, I had season 1. I worked with Joel Church Cooper, who was our head writer. At least from a story standpoint, it was originally a movie script. Brockmire was originally a movie that was going to get made that actually was in pre-production, and financing fell through on it like 3 days before we started shooting. So we took essentially season 1 of Brockmire was kind of the first 2 acts of the movie, stretched out to 8 episodes. And season 2 was really all Joel Church Cooper's creation. I lucked out so big time finding Joel and hooking up with him as a writer. And I'm smart enough to sort of let him follow his muse. And we've worked together for so long now that he really knows the character better than the character's voice better than I do at this point. And he saw in it a lot more depth and intensity and darkness than I ever did. So I kind of let him do that.
And you kind of hinted at what I wanted to ask in my next question, the darkness in there. There is so much darkness in Jim Brockmire, and we especially see it this season. How difficult is it for you as an actor to find endearing qualities about someone who has such crazy issues of selfishness and addiction like Jim Brockmire?
Well, it helps to talk like this. I mean, anything you do, if you kind of sound like a bass, that's kind of the point. That was one of the comedic premises, is no matter how off you're going, no matter how sick you are or crazy or, awful, if you kind of sound like this and then give the count afterwards, you kind of get away with it. It's like British people. It's like the English. They can sort of say anything they like as long as they, say it this way. As Hugh Grant proved on Jay Leno all those years ago. So it's really that. I don't work much harder than just making it sound sort of baseball-y, and it all seems to work out coming out that filter.
One of the great things that Jim Brockmire has is he has a lot of great one-liners and has a lot of great just comebacks and quips to people. Has there been a particular favorite that Jim has had this season?
This season? I really enjoyed saying racism is the fist that is punching America right in its own dick. Enjoyed that.
That was a great one.
It's a good way to put it. It was pretty fun. This was more of a physical gag, but it was sort of fun taking a bat and swatting a crawfish mascot's legs out from under him, then doing a bat flip. That really stayed with me.
That was great. I loved that.
When Brockmire's sister told her that she brought shame to the Brockmire family name, I like when Jim retorted, "Well, gee, I didn't realize we were at Winterfell here." Y'all have brought shame to House Brockmire. I like that one too. I'm a big Game of Thrones fan, so I enjoyed that one.
Oh man, that was a great episode. Are there any aspects of Brockmire this season, as opposed to last season, that you find yourself drawing from your own real life in terms of how you portray him, or within a certain situation?
Well, I certainly relate to a lot of Jim's problems. I mean, I have an ex-wife of my own, have some difficult family members. I've definitely I know what it's like to have really rough times where you lean too heavily on drugs and alcohol and the attendant misery that goes along with that, and some of the attendant fun. But yeah, so I relate to Jim quite a lot. I know what it's like to be a vocal guy, to feel separate from people because they know who you are or think they know who you are. I relate to Jim a lot.
And one of the things that I've always found, one of those additional charming aspects of Jim that I love is his relationship to the sport that he calls, his relationship to baseball. And I was wondering if you had a similar relationship to baseball or another sport, the way that Jim Brockmire does.
Well, I love baseball. I love sports in general. Sports is a big part of my life. I find the older I get, the more it's one of my, I have, I love my family, and I have a son who just turned 9, and I love my work, and I play poker every once in a while, and I love sports, and that's pretty much it. I love movies and TV and theater, but I find that as I get older, maybe equally or more than I love sports, I love sports analysis, sports talk, and sports commentary. And so Brockmire's kind of a love letter, not just to baseball, but to the guys who call and talk about baseball. And one of the joys of doing Brockmire has been getting to know some of these guys as they respond to it. Guys like Bob Costas and Joe Buck, of course, and some of the ESPN guys, and guys like Dan Le Batard and Chris Carlin here in New York, and Howie Rose.
I remember Chris Carlin.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was on the Imus show, wasn't he?
He might have been. He was on a local New York sports show called Loudmouth for a while. Then he went to Philly, and now he's back. He's in the biggest New York sports radio show, WFAN, talking sports in the afternoon. 66
WFAN.
Yes. And I'm a Mets fan as a baseball fan, which is its own version of misery and hell. But and this year's no different. I see you have a Yankees banner up there that's taunting me.
You should have seen what it did to Dennis Leary. But I'm also a Washington Nats fan, so I know the misery when it comes to the postseason. So
you say you're a Nats fan?
Yeah, I live outside of DC.
I think I hate the Nats more than the Yankees as a Met fan.
Oh, all right. That's a badge of pride then. That's great.
Well, yep. Congratulations.
So I was trying to remember. I think one of the greatest pieces about Brockmire is that trademark red plaid jacket that he wears. And yes. Was that your idea from the original short that was done for Funny or Die?
Yeah, that was part of the original character I created. I grew up, as I said, a Mets fan. Lindsey Nelson was one of the Mets announcers when I was growing up. He always wore. I always remember him in plaid, but actually looking at pictures of him, he was very flamboyantly dressed, much like Walt Frazier and the recently departed Craig Sager. Every once in a while, there's a sports announcer who likes to throw on a loud sport coat. Also, a lot of the sensibility of Brockmire was inspired by the movie Slapshot. And there's a really funny announcer character in that movie who's got a plaid 70s polyester coat on. And yeah, I found that the night before we shot the short in LA that this series is based on, I found that jacket in a thrift store on La Brea, an American Rag, for I think it was $18. And it's the same coat that Brockmire still wears to this day. It's in the Hall of Fame right now. Did you know that?
No, I did not. In Canton,
jacket and microphone are in the actual Baseball Hall of Fame just for the year, not forever.
Oh, Cooperstown, right?
In Cooperstown.
I said Canton football. I mixed that one up.
Yes.
So what's really interesting about, if I could just take a macro view of this for just a second, your career has encompassed so much over the years. You've done film, television, stage. You've done so much. Is there anything that you haven't done that you still want to attempt in your career?
Brockmire checks off one of those boxes. in that I had never up to that point developed. I've been fortunate enough to be on a bunch of wonderful shows like The Simpsons and Friends and Mad About You and Ray Donovan and some others. But whenever I had developed for myself in television, it had always gone awry. Didn't come out too well. Wasn't received too well. So it was nice to be able to do that. Not really. I'm a huge comic book geek, and I love this. I kind of love the age of entertainment we're in, where cable is unbelievable, and I love watching. I'm in the middle of Ozark right now, and Peaky Blinders, and there's just now, we all know, right? It's your business. I mean, there's you can't keep up with how many awesome shows there are. I like to think Brockmire is one of them. So to be part of all that is great. And I kind of love the way movies are now essentially all Marvel all the time. And, I really enjoy, I would love to be a part of the Marvel universe in some way. That would be really fun for me. Or the Star Wars universe, although I'm a little less happy with how that franchise has gone. I pretend that the Guardians of the Galaxy movie are the Star Wars movie. In the same way that, I pretend Goodfellas is Godfather Part 3. I pretend Galaxy is the next incarnation of Star Wars.
I never thought of Goodfellas as Godfather 3, but man, does that work.
Yeah, it's what you wished Godfather Part 3 was.
And I just love the idea of Al Pacino aging into Robert De Niro. To me, that's just perfect for some reason. I don't know why, but I just love it.
Exactly.
So another interesting thing that actually just happened today, Emmy ballots have come out. And we actually do know that aside from being submitted for lead actor in a comedy for Brockmire, you're being submitted for the character voiceover category again for The Simpsons. And this year, they've chosen the episode that was submitted was King Lear, where Moe gets into a fight with his father, and Homer and Marge try to reconcile the two. Did you? Was that your decision? And why do you think that was a good episode to submit?
Speaking of Goodfellas, Ray Liotta plays Moe's dad in that episode. But
amazing.
Each year you just kind of look at what, for me, I'm probably Dan Castellaneta, who plays Homer, has a hard time deciding which one he should submit every year, because there's always 14 prime Homer episodes. But for my characters, there's usually only 2 or 3 where one of my characters features heavily enough to submit it. And this year was, I think, quite obviously, there was kind of a substantive comic book guy episode as well, I think. But that episode seemed to be the one with the most juice, and it was kind of Shakespearean. What Moe's family? That's why King Lear. That's why we named it that, and there was a lot to sink our teeth into in that episode.
It also made a lot of sense because when you talked to us last year, you talked about how Moe has probably your favorite lines to say of any Simpsons character that you do. So it kind of makes sense that you would go with a Moe episode.
Yeah, I've submitted as every one of my major characters over the years, just kind of go with whatever the meatiest character was that season and submit that episode.
And I'll sort of bring this back around to Brockmire. If you were to get nominated for lead actor in a comedy, which episode of the first 6 seasons would you want to submit to the voters?
Which episode? Season 2?
Yeah,
I probably would go with the finale episode, the final episode.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
It's hard to pick because I really love them all, and the ones that are super funny, or maybe less intense, but that finale episode, I feel really is a lovely episode of the show and tracks a big journey for Brockmire. I'd probably go with that one. It'd be a good problem to have. I hope I have to make that decision.
I also love the funeral episode, the one with his father's funeral. That was a really good one too.
I like that one as well, and I like the one where he and Jules try to get back together as well. The sort of before sunrise, whatever they call those movies. After sundown. I can't remember. I can't remember.
The Before trilogy: Before Sunrise, Before Sunset,
Right.
Before something else,
Exactly.
Before Midnight. Yeah.
Yes, it's a sort of homage. It's sort of a cross between that and a Woody Allen movie. That episode, but I really like the sixth episode where Brockmire gets his shot again in the bigs and kind of punts it again. I think that episode starts out really funny and then gets really kind of intense in a cool way. I don't know. It's hard to pick. I'd probably go with the finale though.
I also like the finale because it has sort of that bait and switch where, when Jim is hearing, this legendary sportscaster be insanely racist, when he kind of takes him down, you're really rooting for him, but then you're like, wait, in the bigger picture, this was not necessary.
Well, that's the sixth episode. I don't think you've seen 7 and 8.
I have not seen them yet. I am watching them tonight or tomorrow night.
Okay. So the finale is episode 8. So, well, I'll tell you what. Watch those, then you get back again. When we're offline, you tell me what you'd submit. I'm open to suggestions. I always have a hard time picking those things.
All right. Well, I'll definitely do that.
That's episode 6. That's what I was talking about. Is the one with the meltdown in the booth again. I kind of like that one too.
Yeah, that was a really good one. I love the guy who played the announcer.
He was great.
Yeah, he was fantastic.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, Hank, thank you so much for talking with us. This has been great. We wish you all the best this Emmy season, and you can catch the rest of Brockmire Wednesday nights at 10 o'clock on IFC and streaming on Hulu.
That's right. Season 1 on Hulu. Yes.
Season 1's on Hulu. Take care, sir.
Thank you. Take care.